So now we got to have DI because of Trump. I mean, come on, guys. We got to have that because Trump is such a mean, big old petty. We'll say, man, he is the petty. He is going after what he wants and doing what he wants to do. What he promised he would do. And again, man, I admire the hell out of him for that. But again, we don't need DI in any form. You know, again, man, this country has got to grow a backbone again. We have got to finally say, you know what? A bunch of freaks and liberals and losers and whatever. No, man, we're not going to do that. There are two genders. That's it. We're not going to have DI. We're not going to make agencies and companies and whatever hire the most qualified people out of a particular group. We're not going to make them do that. That is wrong. That will bring the country down to its knees. That lowers the output. People have got to understand that. You're lowering the bar, not raising it.
Cabinet that has perhaps more Fox hosts than people who
you know what makes
people
them
of color.
Yes. No, don't do it. Let her finish.
And I would just ask, Scott, if race is not the issue, then why is DEI mentioned every
5
single
seconds.
day as a solution to every single problem that faces this
Because of how pervasive it is, and how hateful it is to an actual conservative ideological view.
But do you think it is true that all of America's ills, from the plane crash to whatever it is, wildfires, due to DEI for real?
I think that if you believe in the fundamental principle of America, which is that we guarantee everybody an equal chance, not an equal outcome, but an equal chance, then trying to go around that principle, conservatives don't believe in it. And most people who believe in America don't believe in it, number one. Number two, the concept of not hiring the best person for the job in government or anywhere else has been repeatedly rejected by the American people, the Supreme Court, and everything else. And so
what do you mean? So I guess what I'm saying is, like, if that is the case, then people are questioning the actual qualifications of many people Donald Trump.
Get this straight. Now, we're dropping off this. We got to have, we got to have somebody that represents everyone equally. No, we don't. Again, that's the reason why there was an election to begin with. Again, people, they don't want to go left. We don't need everyone to best serve the whole population. No, again, there were two very clear ideas in this past election. There was woke. There was bullshit woke policies, and there were conservative ideals. Again, there was the push towards what used to be important, and the new woke bullshit ideas, and the old one. Now, we don't need to have any appointee, again, that's taking place that has to consider whether or not what they're doing is in line with everyone in the country. Again, there was never the idea under Biden, under Obama. Thanks, Obama. It was never the idea. It never will be the idea. Again, Trump won. We don't need to concede a damn thing. Again, Trump won. There are two genders. DEI needs to go. We got to stop trying to make everyone feel good. Because everyone does not have good ideas. All ideas are not the same. All people are not the same. What they stand for is not the same. what won. And if you have policies that say that you can legally discriminate against anyone, it's wrong.
How the government works is what I actually
do.
I do.
I served at a higher level than anyone here.
A couple people at this table have served in the government.
Yeah, me too.
Including for this former president.
I just want to say that I think the premise that DEI exists and therefore the people that got the opportunity, perhaps because of DEI, are not qualified is a flawed premise.
Correct.
And I think that is what is so frustrating about the argument around DEI. We know in this country historically, and even today, there are still injustices in this country based on.
First of all, it's not a flawed premise. It's not. No, number two, you want DEI to exist. You think anyone that wants to dismantle that, like Trump, must be a racist. Must be. Because again, they want to get rid of DEI. That program must exist. Because again, we have to balance the playing field or whatever. Okay. But you're also racist if you assume that anyone actually got their job because of DEI. So again, you're racist if you assume that the program they want and fought for, which again is legal discrimination. But they fought for this. And you're racist if you believe that program should not exist. And you're racist if you believe anyone actually benefited from the program. Again, guys, make that make sense. And also, yeah, there are injustices in the country. There are. But again, things are a certain way, and they may not be that way because the way you think. Like black people, black families. Again, we understand overwhelmingly that 70+% of the U.S. prison population, again, came from homes without fathers. We know that. And black families, again, only 23% are black families are headed by a black man. I mean, that's it. But, nobody wants to look at that. And they say, oh, slavery. Slavery. No, it's not. Back in 1960, 75% of black families were headed by a black man. Again, people, just will not look at the problems. I know I've said that over and over again, but they won't look at the problem.
Based on race, based on gender, based on ideology.
Based on who your daddy played
golf with. Yes.
Okay, that happens every single day. We know that.
It happens every single day all over the planet.
That's
the planet Earth. It is human nature. It is human. Every single, and we're the best at it. We're the best at trying to.
Donald Trump's our president.
Arthur, I guess that's exactly my point. I agree with you. I think that it is true that there have been preferences not for merit since the dawn of time, and that in this country right now, the same people who are going after DEI, which is about giving opportunities to people who have been historically marginalized, are just as willing to hire their friends.
Is that what equity means? Giving opportunity or guaranteeing opportunity?
It's giving access.
Because that's what equity means. It's a difference. There's a difference between equality and equity.
No, it's giving access.
I just want to.
Well, let's break this down. Let's say your dad. Your dad knows somebody who's hiring. And he says, hey, look, my son needs a job. Would you at least interview him? They do, and they hire him. They might, first of all, number one, the person is most likely going to be qualified, very qualified. Number one. And again, they know somebody who knows somebody who needs a job. That's the way it is. But if you're being forced by the company, which the government allows to hire so many black people, so many brown people, so many white people, so many disabled people, so many queer people, so many whatever. Yeah, that's wrong. That is, you're forcing somebody to hire X amount of whatever. Now, you can't even look outside of that. You can't even look outside of that box. And that's where the discrimination comes in. You can't look over there. You only have to look at what's in front of you. Again, nobody's forcing the person the father knows to hiring son. Nobody's forcing. But somebody is forcing somebody to look at, only black women. Like if it's a government agency or whatever. The government agency is forcing you to look at just black women. Because we got enough of them honky men. That's what the problem is.
Super,
and hard work.
Scott, I think this is incredibly important for you to understand and for everybody to understand at home, okay? This is where I think we go crossways on this issue. You just asked the question, what does equity mean? Does it mean equality or does it mean access to opportunities? And conservatives want to define it a particular way, but you have to acknowledge, I'm asking you to acknowledge that people who believe in DEI do not define it that way. They do not define it as equality.
I think they define it as trying to guarantee outcomes, and I think they define it as trying to punish people they don't like.
Scott, that's
wrong race, wrong.
Speaking from more of the middle of the country who's not hyper-partisan on this issue, I think that people generally think diversity is a virtue. It makes businesses better. It makes institutions better. But they also don't like when you have companies or organizations that are spending huge amounts of money to stand up DEI office. As an example, Fairfax County Public Schools, $400,000 spent on a DEI office, but kids are not reading at the levels that they should. They're not advancing at the levels that they should. It's not the issue
were
of
they
diversity.
doing that before the office was stood up?
Well, no, and probably not. And so I'm not saying the connection.
So maybe implementing DEI might actually help people have a better
But it's not an argument against DEI. It's how much.
No, I'm sure the school system was failing beforehand. But do we want to put almost $500,000 towards something that's not going to help anyways? That's not doing a damn thing except, again, throwing money at a situation that has nothing to do with the actual grades or what is happening in the school system itself. That's what people are talking about. And again, this Allison girl gets so defiant and self-righteous and arrogant and whatever. Yeah. The problem is people like her that actually believe that, you know what, if we just throw money at making things more diverse, because again, they said that companies that they have a more diverse workforce, they're better. They perform better. And that's not true. That's not true at all. Again, the thing is, they found out through studies that the companies that have diverse workforces are the ones that can afford it. They can afford DEI programs. They don't perform better after the program. They perform better to begin with. Because again, they were bigger. And what they did is they adopted things to make them seem more woke. So again, people have got to understand that it doesn't, having a more diverse workforce does not make anything all better. And throwing money and making the educational administrative side more diverse is not going to guarantee at all better grades or better outcomes for the students.
That's not the way the conversation is being posed in America today. The conversation about DEI and woke and all of that sounds about marginalized Black and brown people who already are threatened seem to be threatened in this community, in this society, and they're not getting the same opportunities. It was the same thing with affirmative action. Went to UCLA, they got rid of affirmative action. Everyone said you got in because of affirmative action. When I graduated, affirmative action didn't take my test. Affirmative action didn't help me get to where I'm at today. It gave me access that I didn't have based on the opportunity that I lacked because of the circumstances I was born into, which had nothing to do with me, but the country in which we live in. And so the reality is...
Have you seen the test scores of UCLA Medical, by the way?
My point being, Scott, is that everyone doesn't have the same access. People like to hire their friends. They like to hire the people that they like to be around.
Do you think they like to hire the best people for the job?
Number one, maybe, just maybe, these companies want to hire the best. They want to hire the best. They don't want to be told, hey, look, you can hire the best, but only in this particular group. Again, which is not the best. It's never going to be the best if you can only hire Asian men, black women, whatever. It's never going to be the best. It will never be the best. I don't know, Asian man probably. But what I'm saying, all jokes aside, again, if you can only hire from a particular demographic, you're not hiring the best. You're only hiring the best out of that group. Do you understand? So maybe companies, maybe agencies want to hire the best and not being told who they can hire from. And also, man, something I was thinking of was maybe, just maybe, you're arrogant as hell. These DEI folks are arrogant as I'm not even gonna say it, man. They're arrogant. Why? Because they believe they can take something based on merit that is fair and make it more fair by putting their thumbs on the scale. You know, they can put their thumb on the scale and make everything more fair. That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works at all. As a matter of fact, you're putting your thumb on the scale. Just made it not fair. If you guys would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
You son of a